my name's Lance and welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Well, look, we're up in my office, I'm back at work, the weekend's gone, and it went really quickly, and we didn't get much filming done of anything. We just had a busy time. The weather report, yesterday it was bloody hot, 36 and 23, so it's just getting to a stage of an evening now where it's getting hard to sleep. I should put an aircon in the bedroom, but anyway, that probably won't happen. But through this last week, as you know, I told you I'd bought another tractor, a John Deere 1640 in pieces, so I'd made arrangements with the man to go down to Gympie and check it over and pick it up and all that. So on Friday, I'd arranged to go down on Friday, and I said, any chance I can get there early in the day, and then with the empty housings, put the empty housings together so we can just roll it up onto a tilt tray. And he says, oh no, I'm away working. He said, I don't really like people hanging around the shed while I'm not there. And I said, I've done field service for years, I'm right, I'll be there when you come home. And no, he wasn't keen on that. So I was okay. He said, look, don't come down before 4 o'clock on Friday, so I'll have it, I'll be home from work and be working, then be home from work, and we'll help you load it then. And so alright then, no trouble. So I got onto Gympie Towing, and they'd given me a price to bring it to Bundaberg, and so off we went. Travelled down there, and I got down there about 3 o'clock, and there's a roadhouse just up the road, so I thought, well, I'll take the time, I'll go to the loo and have a cup of coffee and all that. So anyway, I thought, well, I'll travel around 3 hours, 2 3/4 hours it took to get down there to where he was. He's down the other side of Gympie, and then you head out into the Mulga. So anyway, I had a cuppa and bloody got on my way. And I thought, well, I've travelled a fair way. If I'm there half an hour early, it won't matter. And if you can understand, someone turning up a little bit early, and if the gate's locked or that, I'll just wait. But at least I'll be there. I won't be wasting my day or wasting any time. So Friday afternoon, 3:30, probably about 25 past 3 actually, I pulls up at his house, and big joint, big flash place. Look, lovely place. Nice brick home, concrete driveways, and quite a steep little pinch getting into it. And I took the trailer down, and the idea was that I'd take my trailer down with me, and then we'd load the loader frame and the bucket and the loader and all that stuff. Load that onto my trailer, and I'd take that home, and that way the tilt tray, they could use a smaller tilt tray and just put the tractor part on. You can hear my computer. I've got another computer, it's a Lenovo computer over the back here, and it's always noisy. It's just winding up there now. The fans are noisy, and anyway, a bit of a heap of shit. I had it back for the second time last week to get fixed, so anyway, that's another story. But anyway, I'm going down to turn up the fella's driveway, and I just get up the driveway, and here comes a tilt tray coming out with me tractor on it. And so I pulled up the truckie. I said, I wasn't expecting this. And he says, he and me boss, he said he knows Alan that bought the tractor off, and they rang up and said, look, I've got a bloke doing nothing for a few hours, you mind if he comes and picks that tractor up? And he said, no, they'd finished early too, so they'd there. So what they'd done, they'd put the tractor in 3 pieces, plus the loader and the loader frame and all that on the truck. It's all strapped down, and they were heading to the yard, and they were heading to Gympie Towing's yard, and they were going to stay there over the weekend and bring the tractor up Monday, which was yesterday, and which was fine by me. I said, alright then, but they said, there's still some parts in the shed if you want to bring your ute down. So we went down, and the hill was that steep they had to bitumen it in their own place to get down this joint, and anyway, it was all good. I had a bit of a look around, and we loaded up the high-low clutch pack, the PDO clutch pack, and they just had open boxes and milk crates and that full of parts, and which I knew about. That was fine. And so I loaded them up into my tilly and took my trailer all down there for nothing. And so yeah, by the time we got the bonnet, and he never showed me a photo of the bonnet, and it looks like they've run into it and pushed the side across a bit on that, but no big deal. And anyway, so I couldn't get to have a look at the tractor before I paid him for it. It was on the truck out the door, and the loader frame, it looked okay, but I couldn't get to have a look at it, and it was off. I thought, oh, okay. There was a gamble buying it, and you know, you got to grow some ghoulies and go with it. And so anyway, that was fine. Had a yarn to the people, nice people, and I said, oh, you mind if I have another look around your shed, make sure there's no more bits there? And he said, oh, nothing there, you got it all. And I said, oh, I wouldn't mind a look. So anyway, I shouted myself a look, and I found one other part, and it was just a bit of sound deadening off the firewall. So I'm pretty confident that I got everything that was there at least. The steering housing and the bell housing where the high-low and all that goes, well, that had been off farm, it had been into town, into a mechanics and back and all the things. So anyway, the dealer had quoted $15,000 to put this tractor together, and then to do the whole job. And anyway, the mechanic that got me onto it, he didn't want to do the job, and he'd sort of quoted 6 to 8 after talking to me, because if you presume everything's rooted, yeah, you're 3 hours from the tractor and you can't. You say, well, look, you know, the Deere ones were between 6,000 and 8,000 in Australia. That was if you had to do your high-low, your transmission pump, your PDO packs, all your sealing rings, the whole kit and caboodle. Clean your pump out and do all that sort of stuff. So, and it's got a loader frame on, so extra hours involved, you know, bolting, unbolting loaders and all that. But I said, you know, our jobs used to be $6 grand, $8 grand was a really dear one, $6 grand was similar. Brian Block, you might be interesting to see what is charged in America for that job. Yeah, no doubt you've done plenty. They're a bit of a shitty with their the John Deere 1640s and 50 series. You know, the utility tractors, they have a high-low clutch pack, which is a change on the move, just gives you an extra whole range right through your gearbox. And it's at the front of your gearbox, so it just doubles your speed. Oh, not doubles, changes your speed. And they've got a PDO, they've got a high-low clutch pack, but in the front of that there's a high brake to work a planetary. With a planetary, you've either got to hold some, or yeah, you've got to hold something. But anyway, they've got an O-ring there, and it's like a lip seal. And the early tractors years ago had a piston ring in there, and the piston ring over time would wear, and they'd get a little bit of the gap would increase. So John Deere, in their wisdom, thought, well, that's no good, they'll put a neoprene seal in there. Well, the neoprene seal, if there's anything wrong with your hydraulics at all that makes those hydraulics get hot, that blue seal goes brown and it just breaks. It changes colour and it breaks. And so what your problem is with that is that if you lock it in low, no problem at all, but the tranny pump's not really big enough for the job, and when you click it into high, by the time it leaks all the oil out through that clutch pack, there's not enough to run your hydraulics properly. You'll have steering, it has a steering priority system, but yeah, so you've got to presume all that's buggered. So anyway, it'd be interesting to see what they cost overseas to do. Being in Australia, our John Deere parts are quite expensive. Perhaps they are everywhere, who knows. But anyway, moving right along with my story, and it's not hard to get off track, is it? And you should try having a beer with me sometime. Christ, places we end up. And anyway, yesterday they had this thing on the big tilt tray, and I said, shit, that's a big truck. You know, when it was down in Gympie, he said, yeah, he said, the boss had this one spare. He said, bugger it, he'll just put it on this one and take it up on Monday on this truck. So I thought, yeah, okay. And I said, well, what time can I expect you? And he said, look, I'll be in Gympie. Oh, sorry, he said, I'll be in Bundaberg around 9. So I said, yeah, okay. So I'd have the daughter's Fiesta into town. That's another story. into town, and at 8 o'clock. So I said, yeah, that'll work in fine. So I got the daughter dropped in, got her card dropped in, and went and picked her up and give her Jude's car to drive around for the day. And you know, I get a phone call, and this bloke, yeah, bloody Wally, and yeah, this bloke on the blower, Justin, I think he said his name, Justin Gimpy Towing, you got something to lift all this shit off up there? I said, yeah, I've got an old loader, an old forklift and all that. Oh, good, I'm leaving now. And this is about 20 past 8 or something like that. And I thought, oh, okay, so there'll be a couple of hours, so not to worry. So I had stuff to do. So I continued on. Next thing, this truck rolls in. Well, what they'd done, they'd used their cranes and forklifts and that, and they'd lifted all my stuff off the big tilt tray. They'd put it on a little tilt tray with a trailer behind it, and I think they broke the front of the canopy a bit doing it, but anyway, look, that's neither here nor there. And this bloke jumps out of the truck, and I said, yeah, g'day mate, when I introduced myself, and he says, you got the fucking jug on yet or what? And I says, no. I said, no mate, I don't have a jug up the shed, I said, I just have a drink of water. And he was a fat bloke, he was a big fella, and probably every bit as big as I used to be, or bigger. Yeah, so he was a big bloke. And anyway, he had a heap of ratchet straps on the trailer and that, and he said, what are you going to lift this shit off with? And I said, oh, I've just got this old loader there. And he says, well, lift that. And I said, yeah, it should be right. And I said, yeah, some of it might be struggling a little bit, but it should be right. And we just got a little crane going past, and I'm in my office at work, as you can tell. And anyway, he's got ratchet straps everywhere around the back. I said, boy, you've got some ratchet straps on. And he says, that's what the boss said. And he said, I told the boss, at least I don't have shit falling off like you. You have stuff dropping off. And he's just a bloody mouth, you know, bloody jabberjaw. And I thought, oh, well, fair enough, I'll just get round my job, and he's not going to be here long. And well, yeah, I hopped up on the trailer and undone all the ratchet straps, and he, yeah, I was strapped on well, and I was on the loader, get on, then I'd have to hop up and I'd get a ratchet strap off, and he jumped up and undone the 6 chains up the front, on the front bit, and then I was undoing ratchet straps and being my own dogman and all that, and he just grabbed a ratchet strap and just start rolling it up, and didn't help at all, the bastard. But anyway, so I got all the back trailer off, the loader frames and the sides and the main frame and the bucket and all that, and this dog trailer he had on the back, I could come in from the side at the front and pick up the steering column and all that with the loader. That was light as anything, and he just wraps a chain around all the steering pipes, and I said, oh, hang on. So we changed that a little bit, so who knows what happened when it was down in the yard. And so then we had the engine and the front diff as one assembly, and then we had the whole arse end with the canopy and all that, and he had the whole arse end laying down, rubbing on the front of the gearbox with the canopy touching the ground. And anyway, my little forklift, I said, geez, I don't know about this bit. I said, look, can you just jackknife your trailer a bit, because he hadn't done all the chains, and I said, oh, perhaps we should leave a chain on that, and if you can jackknife your trailer a bit, I can come in from the back. And coming in from the back, if you imagine the tractor back wheels here, with the canopy leaning over, I could come in from the back with my forks under the axle and do the lifting, and then we could actually lift and roll the transmission back and put a chain back to the forky, and that way I could lift it up. And he says, no mate, you're going to have to lift it off. And I said, well, look, it's a bit dangerous. I said, you know, is there a chance we can just tilt it? He says, look mate, he said, to tilt that enough for that, he said, I've got to take that trailer off. And he said, that's not happening. And I said, well, I'll give you a hand. I said, yeah, it's only wind the leg up, undo the hook, wind the leg up and undo the plug, and cut the plugs. And nah mate, he said, it's not fucking happening. I'm sorry about language, but that's how it was. And oh, bloody prick. But anyway, so I hopped up on the truck, and I actually got the whole arse end of he did help me with that, the whole arse end turned around. But of course the truck was on a slight angle and it was wanting to roll away. fast sort of thing. So anyway, I ended up getting the forks up in under the axle, lifted it up, and yeah, we pulled it back and chained it back onto the forks and got it off. And I'm starting to do the lift, and he says, that bloody thing's not going to lift that. And I'm thinking, well, you know, if you could actually hook chains on and just let it slowly tilt down your bloody tilt tray, it'd be a sight easier. But anyway, not to worry. So I got it off over onto the grass, and I had to put it back down how it was with the canopy on the ground. And look, I've got photos on my phone. I will try and put a little slideshow at the end of the stew of our capers. Not me doing it, I was just working. It was after everyone left, I had time to go around with the cameras. And then with the engine, I had to come in from the side and put a chain around the front axle, four-wheel drive axle, and one at the back, and then you didn't put the chain right down the back, and it started coming off, so we had to do another lift, and we had to pull the air cleaner off because it was going to bend the air cleaner, and oh boy, bloody bit of a show, bloody circus. And anyway, in the end, I could lift the front of the engine and the gearbox up, or the engine and the front diff up, so I had the forklift over the front, and it was holding the front axle up one side and the back of the engine up, but the other axle was hanging, so I got it over the side of the truck with one wheel off the side of the truck. Then I brought the loader in to grab the other wheel and to support it properly, because it was a giggle-headed load. And once again, you could have put a chain, we could have put a plate under the flywheel. It was resting on the clutch at the back, and we could have all bolted my stands on and just tilted it and just let it slowly come down until we could handle it nice and square. But no, the dickhead didn't want to do any of that. And he says, all right, he said, if you lift that up, he says, I'll drive out from under it, eh? And I said, yeah, okay, that's probably a plan, because I can't drive two tractors at once, yeah. So anyway, so I lifted it up, and I didn't even have the bloody thing off properly, and he's heading out, and I'm trying to get it up. Anyway, I got her up, and she's only dropped a little bit when his trailer went out from under it. And he went around the tractors, and with it in the aircon, because it was 36, it was bloody hot. And he goes around my tractors and parks in the paddock and has a look, and I'm off the loader, you know, lower that one, then round load this, lower that one, and he has a look and goes, bip, bip, see you mate, and gone. So that's it. And so anyway, after he left, I had to sort stuff out. Then we got a message on the phone. We were really, really dry, and I got a message on the phone that there was a storm due for tomorrow, or for yesterday afternoon, and I thought, well, I'm not leaving all this shit out in the rain. So then on my own, yeah, got the old forky going and ginned around, and I've got the arse end sitting how it should be, with stands front and back and all that, sitting in the shed, right in the road of everything, but I can handle it easily now. And I've got the engine and the front axle, it's in where Jude usually parks a mower, and I've got the steering column around the end where I was doing the 6-speed gearbox. I shifted that aside and I got her in there. So everything's in out of the weather except the loader frame. It was a bloody circus, I tell you. And then in the middle of that, yeah, Dell gets on to me and she says, oh Dad, my car's ready downtown. And I said, alright, so shut the shed up and go and have a quick shower so I can go to town and drop her off. And Jude's been thinking of having some prawns. She says, oh, we haven't had prawns for ages. So I raced over to Grunsky's. Grunsky's in town, great seafood place. Went and got some nice cooked prawns, and that was our dinner last night. We sat at the table there watching the storm come in, eating prawns. And you know, overseas you call them shrimp on the barbie. You think us Aussies put them all on the barbie and all that. That's just bullshit, advertising bullshit. We just get a kilo of Endeavour prawns, or I don't know, river prawns so big. A kilo's around $22 of cooked prawns, and you go on there in big ice slurry tubs and you grab a kilo bag out and just eat them. They're cooked, so yeah, you just eat them. So that's shrimp on the barbie. That doesn't happen often in Australia, but yeah, sitting eating prawns at the river or something like that and chucking the heads for the seagulls and the tails, that happens. But yeah, we watched the storm come in, and yesterday evening we ended up with 29 millimetres out of a storm. So look, that was great. It was really dry on I was going to do a bit of filming on Saturday, but then no, Sunday, and Saturday I was getting stuff organised in the shed ready for this new thing. I mean, new tractor coming and trying to get organised and servicing things up and get things ready and water the orchard, and then the neighbours ring up. I could see smoke over the back, and Grumpy Dave, young bloke, rings up and he says, "Oh, the old man's panicking. This bush is on fire behind us." And I thought, "Oh shit!" So I could see the smoke, and I thought, "Oh well, I better start doing my fire plan." And my fire plan consists of my big 1,000 litre water container on the forklift. I can fill it out of an overhead tank, so I go down to the dam, start the pump on the dam, fill this top tank, make sure it's full and overflowing, and that just wets all around the bottom of the tank so my poly pipe doesn't get burnt. And then with that running, I can fill my 1,000 litre pot in just under 3 minutes. So 1,000 litres is, I don't know how many gallons, divided by 250 gallons or something like that. And so then on the corner of the shed I've got hoses, and I usually run the pressure cleaner out and get the pressure cleaner all wired up ready. So if you're a pressure cleaner on a fire just does a great job. Yeah, it has the volume and the cold air pushing out. So I got all that ready, and there was fire trucks starting to move around and sirens and all that. And so yeah, for the afternoon we just sat watching, and between us and Grumpy Dave is bloke up the back's driveway, and our thing is that until we see a fire truck, a rural fire brigade truck, come up that driveway, we don't hit the panic button, and because that gives them a good chance to do the bush, and that's the end of the bush. We've got a little bit of bush in our place, a bit behind the shed, and then it's grass. So, and then being mobile with the pod, that allows me to rip around across the paddock and do spot fires if they start in our paddock. And so we've got his driveway, we've got my grass with the dam, then my driveway, and so there's a couple of lines of safety there. So we sat and watched that, but I went close to some homes round behind us. It's quite a large bit of bush, and I see on the news last night they had 30 something appliances there. I don't know where they found 30 something appliances, but anyway, there was fire trucks going everywhere, and yeah, down the end of our road there's an estate, and they were getting in behind the houses there and round on Bonner Road and Bush Road and all that sort of thing. They were coming in. So, but look, it didn't end up getting near us, but that used up a fair bit of the day, just looking at that and getting organised for that and getting ready. So I thought I'd do a bit of filming, a bit more filming on the 135 6-speed gearbox. Just, it's important with these jobs just to keep them flowing. And I'm up to the main shaft, so I cleaned a bench with mats, you know, the hobby mats I use. Everyone uses them with the lines and crisscrosses, and for putting all the high low together and all that on this Johnny, and doing some of the massing. This Nikon camera, the new one, it runs a different light thing. My old camera used to go real yellow on that bench, but this one doesn't seem to. So I've cleaned the bench up for that. I thought, oh, I'll do this 6-speed box, and started doing that. Then I buggered up the order. I only ordered one. There was 6012 bearings, I think that might have been. But anyway, I'd ordered one where I should have ordered two, so I didn't have a bearing to continue with that. So that cancelled that for the day. And so I thought, oh well, I'll start making stuff for the high-low job, so for the Johnny. So with the clutch packs, you have a clutch pack and you have pressure coming in, and I used to have all these tools made, for when I was doing field service, and I just sold them with the shop. So this ends up with a bit of bar down it, and then for doing them out in the bush, you just put a washer on the bottom of your clutch pack, wind him up, and that compresses the spring to get the clips off, to get your pistons out and all that. So So I'm going to go through making that. I've got a washer made, I've got the little clamp made, and this disc for that high load brake, I've got to turn that to a bit over 190 millimeters and put a chamfer on it, and it gets a hole too, so you can just wind it up with a half UNC nut, and that's enough to compress the spring, and you can get the circlets out and all that. Nice and steady, you're not in the press mucking around, and you can do it in the field if you want. And I'm thinking with the whole setup, I might use one of these pins that I've got left over. So look, we'll just see how we go. Looks like the camera's going to run out. I'll do a stop and a restart again. A little while back with Adele's car, daughter's car, it's a 2011 Ford Fiesta. I think overseas they call them a Series 7. And it's been a great little car, but they get this clunk in the steering, and Ford wanted $500 for the shaft, and I put new unis in one I got from the wreckers, and anyway, I got the one from the wreckers fitted, and I went around the paddock buggering around, and I didn't think it was any better, and so I started reading up, and they're saying, oh, it could be down in the rack and all that stuff. But oh well, the shaft that was in her car originally, when I pulled it out, I could not fault it. It looked great and felt great in the unis, and at 35,000 kilometres you wouldn't expect it to be crook. So the grease in the spline was a little bit of white shit, so I cleaned that out, and I actually got the grease going. I put a bit of that Valvoline Optimum Choice. It's a heavy grease in, and I worked the splines up and down. I got in with a needle and pushed it right in, and forced it in with my fingers and all that, just trying to lock it solid on the spline, because I thought, oh well, isn't there spline there that might help? So I didn't know if it would or it wouldn't. And anyway, I fitted that shaft last week through the week, and Adele come and took her car home on Saturday, so she was ready for taking it in to get these door locks fixed, and she said, oh, I haven't heard it make a noise since. And I quizzed her yesterday again, when, once she'd been to town and back, and been into the Ford place and back, and into the dealer and back, and I said, how's that noise going? She said, I just haven't heard it. So we might be onto it. It might be a bit of movement in that spline, just clinking, clunking a little bit. So we'll see. I've got her monitoring it for me. When she went to do the back lock in her car, and when she went to Bunnings and shut the door and the lock wouldn't work, we rang Ford. I think I may have told you last week, I'm not sure, but I rang Ford and they said, oh, there is a problem with those, bring the car in free of charge, we'll put new locks in. So I went in yesterday and I got all the locks around, so I haven't spoken to Adele since, so I suppose it's fine. I had to drive around with a ratchet strap between each door handle, holding the doors shut. But yeah, it must have been a safety thing, so Ford did that for free. 4 new mechanisms, one in each door, so they must have had a problem with them. And I hit them up about the steering. I said, they're steering. I can read the web everywhere where people are having trouble with it, and what are you going to do about it? It's a fault with the cars. It's a common fault. The late ones aren't doing it. You know what the fix is for it. So how about you do it? And they said, oh, your car's 6 years old. If it was only 5 years old, we'd probably look at doing it. And I said, we've been telling you for what bloody ages. But anyway, not to worry. We think we fixed it. So, so that's it. I also I've got a little pot organised all of a sudden now. Wherever I am or whatever I've got to do, I've never got the right cord for the phone, microphone, the whatever setup I need for doing our filming. So we went to Bunnings and got a couple of plastic pots, and I've got one full of my little leads and knick-knacks and things like that. So I haven't got a mic. I'm just using the camera microphone in here, and it'll pick up extra noise outside and that. But that's life, eh? It's not. It shouldn't be washing in and out and things like that too badly. Just in a small environment like this. So hopefully the sound's good. This this plate needs a hole in the centre for the threads, but that'll probably happen through the week, this week sometime. I did get the mill bed and all cleaned up, and I've got the 4-jaw chuck off my rotary table, and I actually turned up, I had a drill arbor, a number 2 drill arbor, and the taper in the centre of my rotary table is a number 2 Morse taper. So I bought a drill arbor, just a Chinese one, and it had a J6 taper on it, I think it was. And so I put that in an adapter in the 4-jaw chuck, in another adapter in the 4-jaw chuck on my lathe, and I actually dialed in on the taper on the piece that I was turning. So, and I got it, and look, it was perfect. Like it was, you couldn't see that needle move when I turned it. And so where you have the Morse taper, I actually indicated off the front of the Morse taper on the piece I was turning. So what I was looking to do was just have a Morse taper peg that just drops in the centre of my rotary table, and I was going to turn the J6 taper down to 1/2 inch. So I could just drop that in, indicate off it at 1/2 inch, know where the centre was, and I could work with that. So I thought, yeah, good job, Lance, let's have a crack at that. So I set it up to perfect, and when I turned it, and I polished the last bit with paper, and I've got my 1/2 inch just mick hair bloody accurate, and dialed everything in, and everything's still perfect. Obviously the part I turned was true, and the bit back further was still true. When I pulled it out and dropped it into the table, I indicated it all up again, and it's a couple of thou out, and by having a fixed dial gauge and I can turn the table, I'm actually getting run out on that peg, and I can indicate the taper, the Morse taper in my rotary table, and I can indicate that, no worries, and it's 0, it's good, there's no run out in that at all. So yeah, we bloody little cheap arbor must be turned a little bit crooked, and when I was indicating, I had about 5 mil of the Morse taper out that I could indicate off, and I indicated off that at 90 degrees, that's centre height and all that. So I'm out a couple of thou there, so I've actually marked it so I know where it is out a little bit. But yeah, I've just I did take time to indicate everything correctly and it's right, but this little tips out a little bit, so yeah, I've got to work out what's going on there yet, and see. Yeah, so I can mark it, and I can mark it where it's out a couple of thou and indicate a couple of thou, in the 4-jaw, bring it off centre a little bit, but instead of 1/2 inch, it might be, I'll drop it down to 10 millimetres or something like that. So anyway, look, that'll have to do for the shoe. Everyone's starting to turn up to work, I can hear them outside and things like that. So yeah, hopefully next week I'll get you for a bit better walk around this tractor, and we'll have started on it, and hopefully I can continue on with the 6-speed as well, and I'll have all the bearings and I can just keep going with that. So we're going to have 2 projects on the go, that's fine. I'm going to go home from work early most afternoons and get into them and work on them and just keep them moving along a little bit. You don't want them stalling, they hang around way too long if you do that. So alright, that's it. Have a good week, and we'll catch up with you next week, hey? Well, over here on the hoist there, I've got the main frames of our John Deere splitting stands painted, just so that, yeah, so they don't go rusty and get dirty hands playing with them all the time. Then round the other side here, we've got the little star levers, or the little adjusting nuts. I blew a bit of John Deere yellow on them. I had a couple of old pressure packs that went through the flood when our shop got flooded, oh, quite a few years ago, and they really took a bit of shaking up to get going. And over the back here, there's the main adjusters. They don't get painted, no need. They're all all galvanised and zinc plated. A couple of welds there, but they're not going to worry us too much. So we'll get that tidied up and I'll pop them together and give you a bit of a look. And there's the stands all assembled. I'll shift this bit of rag away over there, but yeah, so the idea is that you can back this top one out. There's a little bit of grease I put in on the rubbing surfaces, then this one gives you your height adjustment, and then you can lock that back down. And like I said the other week, you can turn it at 90 degrees and use it for, like on a Massey Ferguson or something like that. I've got the bolts for the John Deere ready. So the John Deere will be here shortly. This is Sunday morning now, it won't be here till tomorrow. I picked up a heap of parts for the John Deere and I started cleaning them yesterday just to have a bit of a look at what I was up for, because it's like a lottery. And look, this needle bearing's good. There's a seal in there that's lovely and soft. And so I've cleaned this main drive shaft up and I've oiled the bearing, and it's had it through the parts washer. I haven't put pressure cleaning on it, and I've cleaned the seal surface that was starting to rust. And with this small spline here, that tells us that this tractor has a collar shift transmission, not a synchro, and that's fine too. So I'll just take you for a little walk and show you some of the other pots. Now this is the injection pump off the John Deere 1640 that we just bought, the kit tractor, and the fellow was saying that the pump got taken off and it's had the top here resealed. Well, I thought, oh well, that's a good thing, but look, when we look at it, I don't think they've done it. This seal here is still on, and that could stay on if you just done the top seal, but he said it was just leaking out the top shafts here. But when we look, you can see that okay, the safety wires here, the lock wire is still in place. So that top cover has never been off, and you need to get that top cover off to replace these seals. So what I might do is I think I'll do that regardless. What I mean, this was left open, so I might have a little bit of a look inside and just make sure there's no moisture in there or something like that. Nothing can come and bite us on the bum later. But anyway, we'll see. We've got a spare 1640 over in the paddock there that I pulled the engine apart on years ago and I just haven't got back to, so we do have spare parts if we need them. Right, this is over in the parts washer at the moment. Apart from this Massey Ferguson steering box housing and a Massey Ferguson shaft here, all the rest's high-low. Like that's your planetary. This fella here is your planetary, and it has the big filter canister on it, so that tells us instead of a 23cc per revolution pump, it'll have the 40cc pump, the same as in the John Deere 4040, 4240, 4440s and all that sort of thing. So all the pipes here, this is your planetary pipe, and that side there with the hub, that's your high-low clutch pack, and that has to be timed and all that. That's no problem. We have the gear stick, the top shift cover that gives you your gear selectors, your PDO control and your high-low shift control. This is your high-low brake housing. They have a problem in here. There's a piston ring in there that lets them down often. They still haven't got a good fix for that. Then this is the transmission pump, and without having it clean yet and just having a look, that seal's lovely and soft, and I'm pretty sure none of this was the problem. But being I'd say they wanted to replace all that. Now down here, that's our four-wheel drive clutch pack, mechanical front wheel drive. We'll pop that apart and clean it at the very least. Now here we have that's your PDO drive gear, your PDO clutch drum. Down through the back there's a drive shaft that goes into your clutch. All the piping needs looking at on a John Deere, it's a bit sus. Now this is what I think the main problem would have been years ago when it got pulled apart. This is our PDO clutch pack, and he said he just bought it for doing some slashing, this bloke. And then he also said that he bought it off an old fella, and the old fella had done no hours in the tractor hardly. It's got the original tyres and everything on it, and all he did was a little bit of PDO work, but all the linings have dropped off the PDO plates, and you can see that's what a PDO plate with the lining falling off looks like, and that shiny bit there, that means it was run like that. So there's a little bit of that. This one was definitely run, so there'll be scored clutch plates with the ones with the external lugs. There'll be plenty of those scored up, so we'll have to find some new ones of them. That's a metal one, so yeah, that's in pretty good order. So yeah, we got a lot to look at there. I'm loving this. That's the four-wheel drive sump under the four-wheel drive clutch pack. So there's all sorts of bits and pieces. Oh, we come around here. These are the bolts. They pulled the injection pump off to have it resealed and didn't get it back together. This is our PDO engagement lever. That's our main four-wheel drive output shaft, and like that spline's good, but everything will get polished up, cleaned up. You've got your steering supply filter for if your engine goes out, and that's just all the bolts for the loader and things like that. So look at that, a kit tractor. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting it tomorrow, and we'll get the rest of the tractor in and we'll just see how we go with it all.